Yeah, I remember our conversation, and this is just me being honest. I remember I spoke to you and I thought, in all due respect, I thought, who's this bloke? What's he got that I haven't got? And the first thing you said to me, I don't know if you can remember, is you said,
Cool how when I work together with people all the time, we do become really close friends and have that relationship. So just you know, give us a bit of a background. How old are you? What do you do for your role? Where
yeah,
are you based at the moment? And just so kind of paint the picture for us where you're at now.
yeah, mate, yeah, thanks. I thought I was your only really good friend, but that's all right. If you're going to make with other people, that's cool.
You
Yeah,
are,
so
you
I'm 54, mate. 55 next year. I work as a global sales director for an outsourcing company. So I spend a bit of time traveling to the Philippines, India, and Sri Lanka. Spend a lot of time, obviously, working from home. So yeah, that's pretty well much what I do. And I've always been in financial services, business development, but now I'm in outsourcing and sort of learning a lot about AI and what goes on. And it is just an avalanche of AI at the moment. So I find that I'm getting stuck behind my desk a bit more. And it's funnily enough, you've come along to talk to me about this. And you've been in the back of my mind anyway from what you've taught me previously. So that discipline's there that even though I'm getting so influxed with more work, um, you're probably going to ask me what I've been doing, but I still got up at lunchtime for 1 hour and I walked for 1 hour, and I walked at a fast pace because I knew the time I was going to be sitting on my backside was going to be till 7 o'clock tonight. And I've already gone to the gym this morning at 5:30 and done my HIIT class.
awesome.
So I'm content. Yeah.
Awesome. So when before we like work together, just kind of break down because when we did work together, we helped you lose 10 kilos over, a pretty short period of time. I
Yep.
believe it was about 3 or 4 months. And
Yeah.
when you first started, kind of break down, how are you feeling physically? What was your weight when you started? Like, what was your fitness levels, your energy? I know you've always been quite fit and you've always been quite active. But where were you specifically when you started?
Yeah, look, mate, that's an interesting question because I always, consider myself to be fit because I train 4 or 5 days a week at the gym. I surf, go for bike rides, do a whole lot of stuff like that. But where I was at the time, I didn't think too much about diet. Not so much diet, that's a horrible word. I didn't really know about what I was putting in my body. I didn't care so much. I thought that just doing all that exercise was enough. But I remember hearing about you, and in all due respect to you, I thought I don't need that guy. I've already got the skill set. I'm fit. I'm the man. I should be a
Yeah.
fitness trainer myself, kind of attitude.
Yep. Yep.
Then I met you, and things changed.
Yeah, and because I mean, I remember you were training really hard, you've always trained really hard, but there was no real structure. It was kind of you going into the gym, killing yourself, spending a lot of time, like you said, no real direction with the nutrition as well. And as we know, nutrition is about 80% of the results. I remember saying to you, like, dude, you're training too much. You're doing too much before we start working together.
Yeah.
Kind of like running yourself into the ground a little bit, training too much and not building the muscle that you would have liked. You kind of hit that plateau from what I remember. And it's been going on for a few years, for quite a while. Cool. So before we started working together, like what else had you tried in the past? You tried, personal trainers, you tried doctors, you tried online coaches or anything like that?
No, not really. I think, as I said, I mean, I might go on and Google some workouts. I might, follow someone on Instagram and just look at it. But I must admit, I think every time I went in there, I got detoured to, and don't laugh at this because I know we have a joke about it, but I got detoured to just do arms and chest and shoulders,
Yep.
just for the fact that I kind of already had that physique where people knew I looked kind of top heavy. And I thought, well, if I've got the arms for it, I might as well just work the arms. And I think a lot of my weight was probably around my trunk and my legs and my backside. Um, but yeah, the way that I was probably looking at it was, as I said, I was a bit of a know-it-all. I go to the gym every day. I didn't really have structure, and I would detour more to those, how can I say, not lazy exercises, but the exercises I knew I was good at and I felt comfortable with. And you took me out of that zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the big difference was because you're kind of doing the same workouts for a while and like the body was getting used to it. So you weren't really, you're getting it was getting to that point of diminishing returns. So, when we started working together, I remember we changed everything up. I had you training legs for the first time in 3 years. We are doing all different types of things, and then the body started really reacting, and then everything started kind of toning up without losing the muscle in the arms and the chest, because that's what you really wanted to keep, and the shoulders.
Yeah.
I think you have bigger arms than me to this day, so I think it's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, we could have a bit of a laugh about it, but I certainly didn't have bigger legs. And I still haven't, but I've definitely got more shape to my whole body now, and I'm a lot more confident, I guess, in don't think I'm being weird here, but I go to the Philippines for work, and if I go to one of the islands, I'll get in a pair of Speedos now, and I'm confident, rather
yeah.
than just wearing board shorts because I was kind of ashamed of the lower part of my body. But yeah, very, very proud of the work that we did together.
Well,
Yeah.
if you can walk down the beach wearing Speedos and pull it off, I mean that's a big win in my opinion.
I don't
Especially
know.
in your 50s. It's not
Yeah.
many 20-year-olds could pull that off. So
Yeah, I don't really pull it off, but I've just got the confidence that I've put
yeah.
that much work into it. And I'm body proud now anyway. Yeah, just for the fact that, you know, I guess I put the hard work in there. I pat myself on the back. I won't die wondering, if that makes sense. I will never lie there and go, you know what, maybe I should have put more effort into my fitness and diet and stuff like that. I've got the tools in the toolbox. So,
Yeah.
I'm proud of everything I do. I should be proud.
I'm proud
That's
of
the
you
mindset.
too. Proud of you too,
Yeah.
brother.
Thanks, mate.
And I hear it all the time as well. Like I get on Zoom calls with execs all day, every day. And the thing that I hear a lot, which kind of resonates with what you just said, is I know there's another level. I don't want to die wondering. I want to really push the limit, see how far I can get before it is too late, before I get to the age where it's not going to happen now because it's kind of you left it too long. So no, that makes a lot of sense. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So I know that you had a few, hesitations, obviously, before we worked together. You kind of been a gym junkie your whole life. You had a pretty decent physique. I'd say above average physique before we even started. But for you, you really wanted to go from above average to excellent.
Yeah.
And that's what we helped you do, especially
I,
with
I,
before and after photos.
yeah. I remember our
Yeah.
conversation, and this is just me being honest. I remember I spoke to you and I thought, in all due respect, I thought, who's this bloke? What's he got that I haven't got? And the first thing you said to me, I don't know if you can remember, is you said, yeah, I get it. You want to lose 5 to 10 kilos. And it was like you analyzed me straight away. And I thought to myself straight away, who is this dickhead? Like, why do I need to lose 5 or 10 kilos? But you could identify, and subconsciously, deep down within inside me, that's kind of where I wanted to be, because I knew that if I got to that, which I'd never got to before, because as you said, I'd plateaued out and tried everything with workouts, sometimes twice a day. Went in a few half marathons. I'd
Yeah.
lose a bit of weight, but obviously at the end of the half marathon, go and have 7 or 8 beers and eat 3 pizzas, and that was my mindset: train hard, play hard, eat hard.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which is
anyway,
fair enough. But I guess when there's no structure, you're kind of leaving a lot of results on the table. So
yeah,
I just want to show everyone your before and after, if that's okay with you, Shane. Now the crazy thing about this is obviously your arms got bigger in the process as well, even though we're training a lot of legs.
yeah.
But you're super lean. You have a six pack, and there's not many guys your age who can actually say they have a six pack. Really
Mm.
proud of your results, Shane. But the thing I'm proud about the most is it's been 4 years, and would you say you're in better shape than like physically, or would you say you've actually maintained it?
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, because I did think about this, because I knew this was going to come up. I think I was super fit there. I still think that I'm close to that, but that's kind of my benchmark there. And this is me being honest with you as well. I know you worked with another mate of mine, Damo, who was fitter than what I was, and he dropped a bit more weight and went in a competition because he could not believe where he was at. The only thing that was scary about that was I was super fit there and I was so proud of myself, but I kind of wanted more again. Like I
Yeah.
thought, okay, there's a six pack there, but I wonder if I can get an eight. I've got to drop another two. So am I there right now? No, but I'm in a comfortable space. I reckon that photo was probably on the left. The bigger size me still thought he was pretty fit, and I still reckon he looks reasonably fit, there. The other one was super fit, around 91 kilos with a 10 kilo difference. I'm probably hovering around the 95, 96 now, but probably got more muscle. But I know that's my benchmark.
Yeah, because you've done it before, so you know how to get back there. And the fact that you've achieved that level before, you know that it's actually possible for you. So you have that, you're able to kind of break through those limiting beliefs that, a lot of people think, oh, I'm never going to be in shape, I just can't do it. But I've helped over 1,000 guys, and there's
Yeah,
not one. I've heard it all. I've heard every single injury, every single niggle, every single, everything you can think of. I've heard it, and there's always a way you can work around it.
yeah,
So that's where, customizing and the personalization is very important, because using the
yeah,
cookie cutter stuff on Google and
yeah,
YouTube and things like that, it might work, but it's not going to probably be sustainable long term because it's too broad. It's not specific to your lifestyle, your travel, your, you know, food preferences and things like that. And the
yeah.
fact that, I mean, you're too humble. I think you're in a great shape right now. You're looking like amazing.
Yeah. Thanks.
And
I mean,
you
I
put
train
on,
hard. Hmm.
yeah, I mean, you kept the training up, you kept everything up this whole time. And
Yep.
it's not like you finish the program, you gain 10 kilos in a month, like you see a lot of guys do, and they finish a 12-week challenge. So, the
Yep.
fact that it's sustainable long term, to me anyway, that's the biggest win for you and all of our clients, because there's no point in losing weight if you're going to blow back up to where you started a few months later. It's kind of like, what's the point? Should just sat on the couch the whole time, done nothing if you're going to end up where you
I,
started, right?
I don't know. I don't know if this is the right thing for me to say, especially on here. And I know you've got a business to run. Is I've got you as a friend and kind of a mentor in a way. And thank you so much for what you've helped me achieve. But I don't need you for life now because you've taught me. If that makes sense, it's almost like I see you, and there's a journey that you take me on, and then we get to it. I know that things evolve and that new things will come in, and there'll be new things that come on the fitness market. But I have the skill set and the knowledge now to understand what I need to do to stay in good shape.
Hmm.
And that's thanks to you. And I've even said that to you over a few beers. Got a bit emotional about it and said, well, it's like anything. It's sort of like I've taken a Ferrari for a drive, and I turned into a Ferrari. Now I'm kind of back in I don't know, the BMW, but I'll never get back into the Toyota Yaris.
Exactly.
I'll never go that far back. Um, then again, as we age and we get old, I can't do the same exercises. I can improvise, obviously. I mean, look, I can still do, 70 push-ups in a row. I've got that gift, but one day I won't be able to do it, So I'll do them on my knees, but I'll still always move. And I've told
Yeah,
you this as well. If I can somehow remain in the top 10% of people in my age group, that's my goal for life, even when I get to 90, you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
So I know that was a tangent. I wouldn't have thought that way before. I probably just would have thought, oh, yeah, I just want to have really big arms. I just want to look awesome. Now it's overall fitness, well-being.
Yeah.
And
Longevity, right?
well, the
Lifespan,
other
health
thing,
span.
I've probably, um, I'm earning more money now than I've ever earned before. And I thought I was going really well before, but I was tired. I was lethargic. I used to get paranoid about public speaking. This is the truth. I went to Toastmasters. I stood up and I thought they're all looking at me, but they're probably looking at my arms. I used to think this way. Now I stand up and I'll do a presentation. I mean, look, I've got the knowledge and I'm confident about how I do it, but I stand up with conviction because I'm thinking in this room right now, I reckon I know more about well-being and how I need to be as a person than probably 95% of you here. And I get compliments sometimes. You're not that age, mate.
Yeah.
What's it
Um,
about? And I say it's consistency. It's about knowing what to do and, ab start in the kitchen and, all that kind of is. So,
what I'm hearing, what it sounds like is, since you've made that transformation, the confidence has improved a lot when you're talking in public, and you're meeting big clients you're about to close a multi-million dollar deal with and things like that. And like you walk into that room with, more energy, more confidence, and people look at you and they think, you know what, that guy, there's something about that guy. He's just got his shit together. Because I hear that a
Yeah.
lot as well. People say, I just want to walk into the boardroom. Obviously, I'm successful in business, but my body doesn't match. So when you have the body that matches the success, that's when
Mm.
you really are in that top 10%. And honestly, even probably the top 5%,
Yep.
I call
But
it.
it's also even, I think, some people obviously have different body compositions. They're not going to be, super duper fit. It's just the way it is. But I also just think getting the endorphins pumping every day and knowing how to get them pumping and knowing how to put myself in preparation for something like that. Um, so I know what I need to do before the holiday. I know what I need to do before a meeting next week that's big and I've got to fly to Melbourne and sit in the boardroom. If I don't do this 3 days prior to it, I'm going to be sluggish. I'm not going to go and, drink beer, sit on an aeroplane for 9 hours, or go to the airport, sorry, for 2 hours, sit on a plane for 2 hours, get in a cab for 2 hours, and go straight to a meeting and feel like I'm on top of the world. What I'm going to do before that is certain things to prepare for that plane ride, eat the right food on the plane, get off, maybe walk up some stairs. I mean, I know I'm going on a tangent again, but that's what I need to do to go into that meeting with full confidence, conviction, and feel great and give it my best shot.
Exactly. And that could be being in that state, having that more energy. That could be the difference between closing the deal or not closing the deal. So, you know, and
Absolutely.
imagine the difference over a year feeling like that. That could be
Yep.
10 new closed deals compared to zero new closed deals or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this either, but I'm dealing with American clients now, and I'm probably starting at 4 a.m. and finishing at 7 p.m. Don't think I'm working that long because what I'll do is I'll actually go and do that walk at lunchtime, go
Yeah.
to the gym between 6 and 7. It's a priority. What I've done too is made that a priority of my day rather than that whole day being filled up with work. I won't do that whole day,
Yeah.
4 till 7, unless I can have 2 hours of physical activity and eat the right food with preparation. And I think you taught me this too. 1 hour of your day is 4% of your day. So 1 hour of exercise is only 4% of your day, which is obviously 24 hours times whatever. And that just is an epiphany. I can't get that out of my head that 8% of my day is 2 hours of my day. I know we sleep for 8, and sleep's really important, which you're going to probably tell me about later. But there just seems to be no excuse since I've gone through this whole program with you. Why wouldn't I prioritize that over that? And the other stuff just falls into place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
With
makes
performance.
perfect sense. It makes
Yeah.
perfect sense because when you go to the gym or when you train, I mean, you got to think about it like as part of your job because that's how I think about it. That's how I tell my clients to think about it. Going to the gym or training at home or whatever it is, eating the nutrition according to the plan.
Yep.
You have to look at it as part of your job because when you think about it, it's going to improve how you perform at work. It's going to improve your quality of life. It's going to improve your relationship with your kids when you're leading, you're that, as I'm sure you are now, you drop the kids off to school in the morning. They're probably looking at their friends look at you and say, "Oh, look at there's Louis' dad. He's so strong and fit. He's that strong fit dad."
It's funny the way you say that. That doesn't happen now because I make them walk to the bus stop because it's actually a 500-meter walk there and back. At first, they said, no, it's too far. And I said, no, it's not. And you haven't seen my son Louis now. He's 6'2". He's 14. He's in the A grade basketball team. And that has happened once again for me transferring the knowledge you transferred to me to him.
Well,
Um, I'm not trying to make your head explode here, but there's just things that I'm implementing into his day that is just turning him
yeah.
into a human being as well.
Well,
So yeah,
you become that leader. You're leading by example, like leading from the front, rather than being that out of shape dad who's telling his kid to go to the gym or do some exercise. Because kids
yeah,
don't listen to their parents. They watch and they mimic what they do.
yeah. And I don't want to be called granddad at school. That's one of my worst nightmares because we had kids in our early 40s. So as you know, my age, I've got an 11-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. And once again, I go to school and I see some of the parents there and they're 10 years younger than me. And I think,
They
I've
look,
still got it over you, not being judgmental, but man, this bloke here is in his late 30s. And I'll have a conversation. He goes, yeah, mate, I'm just too busy, do this and I do that. And I go, you're not prioritizing, brother, you know?
yeah. Well, I mean. they're 10 years younger, but than you, and they probably look 10 years older because they're not taking care of themselves and their priorities aren't in the right order. So
Yeah.
just to like kind of rewind, before we started working together 4 years ago, let's say if you never met me, let's say we never started working together. Let's say you thought I was too much of a dickhead and you said, screw this guy, I'm not going to work with him or whatever it might be. Where do you feel like you'd be now if I kind of, we never got you to that level that you didn't think was possible? Do you think you'd be the same or do you think like how do you feel?
No, I don't think I would be the same. And look, that's a pretty deep question because I think you might know this. I've had one or two people pass away, in their early 50s.
Yeah.
I won't go too far into it, but they surfed with me. They were super fit, back in their day, and then they just sort of let it go down because one of them actually said to me, "Oh, mate, I'm 45 now, like this is just the way it is. I've got the dad bod." And, it kind of, there was a time back there where I almost gave up. I remember I was just with my wife, I had my two kids, had a good job, the mortgage, the whole thing. And I thought, you know what, I'm sort of in my mid 40s as well. It's okay to get fat. It's okay to sort of just be that dad bod. Um, and then I kind of met you a couple of years later. But yeah, look, I definitely wouldn't be the same person because I haven't got the same toolbox, the same skill set. I am really inquisitive about it now too because I have seen the results, and sometimes I want to push a bit harder, and I'll reach out to you sometimes and say, look, what about this? And you'll say it's bullshit. You just got to really focus on magnesium, calcium. These are your main things that you should worry about. Maybe some creatine. It saturates your muscles. Whole lot of stuff that you might tell me is good. And I would have never done that before. I just would have been a know-it-all. Or I would have gone down the track of just getting old and feeling like I'll just be another sheep and blend in with society.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So basically, it sounds like, once we started working together and you opened your eyes to what's possible with your own body and fitness and things like that. It sounds like you hit that mindset shift that from that day forth, you'll never settle for average ever again.
No, no, definitely not. I think because, I've driven the Ferrari. I know that sounds like an old cliche again, but I just felt so good. And I'm still in the Ferrari now, but every now and then I can get out of the Ferrari and I know how to get back into it.
Yeah,
Um,
makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm not going to digress too much, but then again, I know the Ferrari is not always going to be there because of, you get old. We all get old. But as I said, if I can just be in that top 5 or 10% throughout my life, throughout the duration of my life in that age group, that's my goal. And I would have never had that goal before. So probably answering your question again, no, I wouldn't have that mindset, but I now have that mindset. And if I go off the rails, I know straight away there's about, it's like you're on this shoulder. You're not even with me, but you're going, what are you doing, man? You've done it before. You're being silly. So yeah, you're always there, which is a bit annoying sometimes.
You're
2 o'clock
welcome.
in the morning, they go to the kebab shop, after a few beers. But then
Yeah.
the other guy says, but you deserve it, mate, because you know how to get back there. Have the kebab.
Well, you can have that balance. So like
Yeah.
the last thing that you want is to be eating chicken and broccoli from Tupperware container for the rest of your life. And I say on calls with men all the time. Don't be that guy who's going to business meeting or business dinners and you're bringing your own chicken and broccoli in a freaking Tupperware container because they just look at you like, who's this weirdo? They're not going to want to do business with you. So you want to have that balance. You want to enjoy a drink and a glass of wine, every now and then or whatever it might be. Have that burger, have that lasagna, and not feel guilty about it because you know that you have the tools to eat what you like and not get fat, but also if you do go overdo it, you know how to pull it back.
Yeah.
And and then the crazy thing as well, back when we were working together, like my program's just changed so much in the last 4 years. We've brought in so many different, we do the blood testing now, we do, the accountability is a lot higher, the programming's a lot sharper. So yeah, I mean the result that we got you back then and compared for what the program was then compared to now,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So really good job, man. So what's the vision for you for the next, say, 12 months? Well, let's call it 12 to 24 months in terms of your health, your fitness, everything like that.
Well, yeah. Yeah, look, that's another good question because I really enjoy training now. Like I look forward to it because once again, I'm pretty good at it because, my fitness levels are there. I'm going to start going in high rocks and some competitions just for the fact that I'm in the 54 to 59 group now, and I'm sort of at the younger end. And once again, this, I went in the rowing concept too, just when we were really peaking out together, and I was extremely strong. And I went in the 500 meters and come second in Australia. I don't know how many people went in it, maybe only 10, but no, there was quite a few. But I think you were there when you saw the bloke come out to row against me, and he called himself the Viking with a big mohawk, and he had two entourage with him telling him how to row on this concept
You've
too. And
got 6'8" and jacked, yeah, and you beat it.
well, no, he beat me by about half a second, but I came out wearing board shorts and just a pair of runners and a singlet. You guys were sitting in the grandstand waving at me, and I went, geez, look at this bloke. He's pretty serious. And he only just pipped me. So I guess maybe utilize what I've got as well. So rather than just, going to work, being in the hotels and looking back at some of the programs you've given me and some of the recent ones you've given me, going for dinner, like you said, look, I will have chicken and broccoli, but I'll probably put aside the dessert and some chips, just for the fact that that's just my habit now. And I like that food, not so much the broccoli and the chicken, but, I know what to eat because of you and still have a good time and maybe look at what I'm drinking and eating. You know this too. So I'm not going to drink 12 fat yak beers. I might have, 4 or 5 wines and a couple of vodka lime and sodas.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'm still in the game.
Yeah.
But my goal is to continue with my career, pay the mortgage off, which is pretty close. Kids are still going to private school. Be a good dad. Obviously, these are the priorities that have kind of fallen into place, and stay as fit as I can, injury free as well, which is also a part of what you taught me. There's technique, there's working different parts of your body at different times. And if you do have something wrong with you, you don't stop, you can just work around it, which I liked about you as well, because I did have a sore back and I thought, I can't do nothing. Hey, I can still go and sit down, and do some exercises.
Something you can do, yeah.
Yeah. So next 12 months, mate, probably prioritize family, fitness, career. But once again, I'd probably say prioritizing me first as a healthy person, mind, body, and soul. Everything else just falls into place. High rocks, I'm still sort of going to the gym, group exercise classes, and there's blokes in their 30s now. They're fitter than me. They can run around the block quicker than me. I don't care because I crack a joke going, maybe on the board we should have an over 50s.
Yeah, but you're keeping up with them, right?
Well, I went today just as an example. I go to Fit Stop, and it's really cool, engineered sort of for me at this current time. But at the end of it, it's go on Strava and do a lap of Labrador where I live, and it's a 1.1 kilometer run. So and you finished your class, and I did it in 5 minutes and 10, and they're doing it in sort of 4:06, 4:07, but they're in their early 20s. And 15 kilos lighter. But I get back and they're like, oh my God, he's back. And I said, I'm always, mate, I was on your heels up until this amount of time. Yeah. So once again, but there's no one doing it my age because they just hop in the car and go home. Not that I'm sort of saying anyone out there that is 5 to 10 kilos overweight. If you still feel good about yourself, yeah, that's great. But I did want change. That's why I initially spoke to you. I subconsciously wanted to lose that 5 or 10, as much as I kept pushing back from it because – hey, I didn't need to. But once I did lose that 5 and then 10, and I started getting compliments everywhere I was going, like, oh my God. I think when you lose between sort of 7 and 10, people start to notice, and then you notice it too. I mean, my eyes were wide, they were white, everything just changed. And then all of a sudden work became easier. My wife wanted a bit more of me as well. And it was just, man, this is the secret sauce. This is what has to be done rather than here's more money, give the kids money for this. Hang on, I've got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I need an afternoon nap. If I need an afternoon nap now, it's probably because I've got up at 4 o'clock, done some appointments, gone to the gym from 6 till 7, or done some of your stuff online, walk the dogs 5 kilometers. And then after lunch, I've gone for a surf and got some sun. This is on the weekend, and I do need a nap in the arvo, but my God, I've had the greatest day. And that nap goes for 40 minutes. And I get up and I go out that night and I'm full of energy. And you've taught me about sleep as well, which is really important. Maybe not throughout the day, but, you know, and I don't have a problem sleeping either. I mean, sometimes I do. We're human. There's times that I sort of will go through um, a stressful time with work and stuff, and I may lay awake at night. But you've taught me a few sleeping techniques as well.
Before we finish this off, Shane, let's say if you could go back to right before, we started working together, like what would you say to yourself, or even maybe when you were still having those doubts, before, joining?
Yeah,
Go back in time, what would you say to yourself then?
I would have done it earlier, just for the fact that the best years of my life have probably been in the past sort of 5 to 10, because it's been, I've been the fittest because I've had the knowledge and I've been guided in the right direction. Um, I mean, I was happy back then, but I would have loved to have been in the top 5 or 10% in my 20s and 30s, which I don't think I was. I think I was probably in the top 20, 30, 40, 50, which is cool, still cool. But I wish I would have done it back then, because who knows where I'd be right now with that head start as well. However, it's never too late to start, because I kind of started in my mid 40s, and now, not started, but kind of started to get a bit inquisitive about it. Started to think about my job and how can I get better at it. And I think it is just I would have probably started this journey earlier.
The best time to get started was 10 years ago. The second best time to get started is right now.
Yeah, it's never too late, and I think it's always changing. Like in 20 years from now, hopefully you're still around, but you'll probably have some other technique, because you're in the know-how. You're the expert. If you want to talk to me about, offshoring and doing something, I'm the expert. You're the expert in this field. And I thought I was not the expert, but I thought I knew quite a bit about it. You devoted your whole life to it. So therefore,
Mm.
you know,
Well, I got no doubt that you could have achieved the results that we achieved together on your own. You're a fit guy, you're intelligent, but I guess working together when you have that expert, that person who's done it 1,000 times with tons of other people, it just
yeah.
speeds up the process. And it just takes all the guesswork out. So you're not guessing and trying to think, oh, am I taking the right supplements? Am I eating the right food? Am I eating the right calories? Am I doing the right training? Or even if it does work, what you're doing on your own, and then you plateau, how do you break through the plateaus? Things like that. It just takes all the stress, all the guesswork. So you just focus and just go and execute.
Remember as well, it just comes back to me now, is I don't think I would have got through um, that I don't want to call it a weight loss, because I haven't really put it back on. I don't want to lose it permanently. But you did say to me, look, don't worry about the scales for the first few weeks, because I'd get on the scale. I've been doing this 4 weeks, mate. I've dropped nothing. But then I remember you said to me, wait till week 6.
Mm.
And I must admit, week 6, 7, and 8, I just started to really see some results because of the consistency. I don't know if that's what you tell other clients, but for me, that was something that really resonated as well, that the scale as well isn't really that important. I have had a few body scans, and I think I've got down to 12 or 13% body fat when I was really serious about it. Um, but I weighed quite a lot more, than what I thought I was going to weigh, but it was just muscle. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
You put on some muscle, and because the scale doesn't account for, say if you lost 5 kilos of body fat, but then gained 5 kilos of muscle, you're jumping on the scale thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm the same
Nothing
way.
happened. But then you look in the mirror and you're looking completely different, or you're putting pants on that are all of a sudden feeling loose around the waist. So yeah, it's to obsess over the scale is
Yeah, I think it was the motivation behind and the knowledge, as I said, but it was also being accountable, because you'd asked me to be truthful with you as well. And I remember I said to you, "Oh, look, I went out and did this," and you looked at me and you said you weren't going to do that. You know, and it made me feel bad. So what I did is tried to make up for it the next week, which I did, when I fell off the wagon a couple of times, but I sort of hopped back on pretty quick. And the thing is too, and that's just making me resonate as well. Like, I'm pretty structured in my day to day activities with work and family. But going back then, I did have structure, or I thought I did, but I didn't have the correct structure. And I think that's where you guided me as well with that structure, you know, and that's another thank you from me to you, because now that's a big part of my structure, is what you've taught me as well. Um, when before it was kind of maybe on the back burner a bit compared to the structure of everything I was an expert in. Now I've got really good structure because you taught me.
well, you're
Yeah.
following a program where And most people are. Pretty much everyone's following a program, whether they realize it or not. Everybody sleeps every night. Everybody eats food every day. Everybody does some type of movement every day. But it's just a lot of time it's not the right program. And then when you do have the right program, look what happens. Get in the best shape of your life and top 5% of people in your age group worldwide. And I think you'd be probably top 2%. Give yourself a bit more credit.
I heard you saying that because I'm old enough to be your father, but when we walk down the street together, we look like brothers. Um, no, mate, it's all good. Look, I've said thank you to you many times, but what I've taken out of, our friendship and all that kind of stuff is you made me realize I didn't know as much as I thought I knew, because I then sort of delved deeper into the expertism that you've got and went, wow, that makes sense. The push and the pull, the legs are just as important as the upper body. When you're in a hotel room, you can do push-ups, you can do squats, you can walk the stairs, find the fire exit, like little things like that. Yeah,
Awesome, Shane. Well, I really appreciate you jumping on. Thanks for your time.
pleasure.
Yeah, keep up the good work, crushing it. And as always, I'm always here in your corner anytime you need me. So
Oh, no, mate. And thank you so much as well. It's been a pleasure.
anytime, brother. Anytime.